जब जब आप वीडियो गेम डेवलपमेंट के बारे में सोचते हैं, आपके मन में पहला ख्याल क्या आता है? We are sure an image of hundreds of game developers working on their computers on a single game, is it right? काफी हद तक आपका अंदाजा सही है. To be honest, that's how most of the games are developed by AAA studios like Activision, Ubisoft, EA and Bethesda Studios. मगर इस प्रोसीजर से एकदम उलट गेम्स का एक बिल्कुल ही अलग जॉनरा भी है, the indie games. इंडी गेम्स वो गेम्स होते हैं जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज नहीं बल्कि इंडिपेंडेंट इंडिविजुअल्स या एक छोटा सा ग्रुप मिलकर बनाते हैं. These games are passion projects of these guys and are often made by money straight out of their own pockets or through public fundings and kickstarters. इन लोगों के पीछे किसी आलीशान कंपनी का पैसा नहीं बल्कि इनका अपना जुनून लगा होता है और कई बार कैरेक्टर क्रिएशन से लेकर के गेम में इस्तेमाल किए जाने वाला म्यूजिक तक ये सब कुछ खुद बनाते हैं. इन इंडी गेम्स यू मे नॉट फाइंड द मोस्ट रियल लाइफ स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट मोशन कैप्चर्ड ग्राफिक्स विद डजन्स ऑफ वॉइस एक्टर्स, बट दीज लिमिटेशंस आर ओवरकम बाय इंडी डेवलपर्स विद क्रिएटिविटी, स्मार्ट चॉइसेस एंड इनोवेटिव गेम डिजाइंस. Indie games have been the purest form of video gaming experience in recent times through games handcrafted by developers with a meticulous amount of care and passion. कई बार इंडी डेवलपर्स एक गेम को बनाने में दिन रात एक करते हुए सालों साल लगा देते हैं. इंडी डेवलपर्स इन द पास्ट हैव इन्वेस्टेड ऑलमोस्ट एवरीथिंग दे हैव टू मेक दीज गेम्स पॉसिबल. दीज गेम्स आर फ्री फ्रॉम एनी कंपनी कंट्रोल और इसलिए ये अपने गेम्स के जरिए सोसाइटी के ड्रॉबैक से लेकर के ह्यूमन इमोशंस तक सबके बारे में खुल के बात कर पाते हैं. Some of these indie games even help and motivate players to tackle their own mental and emotional issues.
There is one thing I want to say though. If Celeste has helped you come to terms with mental illness, I just want to say that you deserve credit for that. That change came from inside of you. And you're capable of a lot more. Thank you.
Experienced से experienced gamers भी कई बार इंडी गेम्स के कुछ एलिमेंट्स जैसे बॉस बैटल्स, उनके म्यूजिक, उनके थीम्स और उनके साइड कैरेक्टर्स देख के हैरान हो जाते हैं. The sheer amount of gameplay with no filler content and back-to-back adrenaline pumping action that these games provide often remains unrivaled. आज हम बात करेंगे कुछ ऐसे ही शानदार इंडी गेम्स के बारे में. This indie game takes every Metroidvania game ever made and stomps them into oblivion. In Hollow Knight, there are almost 150 unique enemies and 35 outstanding bosses. The sheer amount of content that this game has to offer is startling, especially when you consider that this game was made by only 4 people. Quality और quantity दोनों ही मामलों में ये गेम एकदम खरा उतरता है. The environment and ambience of this game takes you into a different world. In this case, the destroyed kingdom of Hollownest, where you can get lost for hours and may think that only minutes have passed. Every area in this game has its unique music and aesthetic, which makes them very distinct from each other, and the progression of the player feels that much more significant and rewarding. It will happen on many occasions that will feel like just standing and taking it all in. The icing on the cake of this game is its combat. The combat of Hollow Knight is fine-tuned to near perfection, with every enemy attack being telegraphed and beautifully animated. The player always knows what move the enemy is making, how to dodge it, and how to retaliate. Hollow Knight rewards a player for learning its enemies' attack patterns and gives them the opportunity to outmaneuver his foe. बात करें इसकी म्यूजिक की तो इसका म्यूजिक कमाल का है. इनफैक्ट अब तक के कई वीडियो गेम्स के मुकाबले इसका म्यूजिक काफी शानदार है. इस अमेजिंग म्यूजिक के लिए टीम चेरी की जितनी तारीफ की जाए कम है. Cuphead is the result of pure hard work and dedication. सच में इस गेम के डेवलपर्स को तो hats off है. Cuphead was published by Studio MDHR and was developed by just two Canadian brothers, Chad Moldenhauer and Jared Moldenhauer. The most distinct and universally appreciated part of Cuphead is its artwork. Cuphead follows an art style of the 1920s से 1930s के cartoons where every frame of the game is hand animated by the developers, जिसकी वजह से ये गेम एकदम मक्खन जैसा स्मूथ दिखता है. The characters in this game are never stagnant and every part of their body always moves and wobbles. Moldenhauer भाइयों ने वाकई इस गेम को डेवलप करने के लिए अपनी जान लड़ा दी है. Now, just to put into perspective how much time and effort they put into this game, let's look into an analogy. Every boss fight in Cuphead is about 2 to 3 minutes long, and during that time period, the bosses have many different and unique attacks, which leads to around 300 to 400 frames of unique animation. So, we have 300 frames that need to be sketched, inked, and then colored, which means that generally in Cuphead, every boss is drawn for around 900 times, and there are 19 bosses in this game, so you can just imagine to what painstaking lengths have these developers gone to make this game happen. And mind you, we are not even taking the run and gun levels into consideration that has many different smaller enemies. Hollow Knight के ही जैसे यहाँ भी quality और quantity का बेमिसाल तालमेल है. Every boss in Cuphead is very distinct from the other, and the player ranges from fighting a three-headed dragon and Medusa herself to fighting a stupid onion that does nothing and only cries. That's his attack. He cries. No boss in Cuphead feels or even looks repeated, and all the bosses are accompanied by a charming music. Cuphead can be difficult to play sometimes, and it is a bit rough around the edges because of its RNG mechanics, but the sheer amount of hard work, care and love that these developers have put into Cuphead makes it worthwhile to complete the game, to see and appreciate all the bosses Cuphead has to offer and to make the devil cry in the end. Studio MDHR ने वाकई एक कमाल का गेम बनाया है जिसके आर्ट डायरेक्शन और म्यूजिक की चर्चा आने वाले लंबे समय तक होगी. So, Terraria, अब इसकी शुरुआत कहाँ से करें? Let's start with the basics. Terraria was published by Relogic, which was made up of only 3 game developers and Scott Lloyd Shelley, who composed the music for the game. Terraria is a 2D open-world sandbox survival game, and due to its genre, it is often compared to Minecraft, which is fair. Similarities often come in comparison, so let's compare some of the aspects of Terraria to Minecraft. Minecraft has 4 weapons. You got your sword, your axe, your bow, and the trident. You as a player have to play around these 4 weapons, enchant them, acquire upgrades for them with the new ores, and mind you that these upgrades are merely stats based and there are no changes in the basic move set. अब बात करते हैं Terraria की. Can you guess how many unique weapons there are in Terraria? 6, 10, 15? It cannot be more than 20, right? Terraria as of now has 547 unique weapons. These weapons range from tactical shotguns to katanas. We got lightsabers, sniper rifles, vortex guns, phoenix blasters, flare guns, flamethrowers, grenades, miniguns, boomerangs, electric bazookas, cannons, magic staffs, whips, summoning staffs, and a yo-yo. A yo-yo as a weapon, and the best part is you can use it very well. It's a pretty good weapon and you can make a complete build around it. All these weapons have different uses, different ways of acquiring them by farming enemies, events, boss battles, explorations, and not just by simply mining a new ore. Terraria game के bosses भी कमाल के हैं. 17 normal bosses and 14 event bosses, making the total count to 31. And these bosses are no joke, mind you, huh? They are relentless and their attacks hit like a truck. These bosses will put your skills to the limit, and this is where you try out these 547 weapons at your disposal. Rounding back to our Minecraft Terraria comparison, this is how you fight the last boss of Minecraft. And this is how you fight the last boss of Terraria. Every boss is very different from each other and has different move sets and can be tackled effectively with different weapons. For example, if you try to fight the Wall of Flesh, one of the bosses of Terraria, with a sword, then that fight will be very challenging. But if before that fight you explore the jungle biome and get some bee nades, then that fight will be a walk in the park. Terraria also, like many other indie games, has pretty good music. तो कंक्लूजन ये निकलता है कि कैरेक्टर डेवलपमेंट, स्टोरी लाइन और म्यूजिक के मामले में इंडी गेम्स किसी से कम नहीं. The developers put immense amounts of work in making these games like we have seen in Cuphead, and the sheer volume of content that these games have often outshine most of the AAA games as seen in Terraria, and how some of these indie games are literal masterpieces like Hollow Knight. Indie games देखने के बाद लगता है कि जब कुछ लोग मामूली से बजट पे इतने कमाल की गेम्स बना लेते हैं तो ये AAA स्टूडियोज इतने सारे एम्प्लॉइज और लाखों करोड़ों रुपए का बजट होने के बाद भी आधे अधूरे गेम्स क्यों रिलीज करते हैं। तभी तो इंडी गेम्स और उनके डेवलपर्स दोनों की ही जितनी तारीफ की जाए कम है, और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि आने वाले टाइम में ऐसे ही और कई फिनोमिनल इंडी गेम्स हमें खेलने को मिले। इस वीडियो में हमने 3 इंडी गेम्स कवर किए हैं, मगर और भी कई अमेजिंग गेम्स हैं जैसे कि स्टारड्यू वैली, शवल नाइट, कटाना जीरो, डेड सेल्स, अंडरटेल एंड वन ऑफ द मोस्ट पॉपुलर इंडियन इंडी गेम राजी, जिनके बारे में हम बात करना चाहते थे मगर समय की पाबंदी होने के कारण कर नहीं पाए। होपफुली आने वाले वीडियोस में वील बी एबल टू टॉक अबाउट देम इन डिटेल।